Good afternoon, colleagues. I'm Mark Hardingham, Chair of the National Fire Chiefs Council. You should never start these with an apology, but I'm sorry that I'm unable to be with you in person today as I respond on behalf of the National Fire Chiefs Council to the White Paper. I'm representing UK Fire and Rescue Services at a long-standing commitment in the US at the Metro Fire Chiefs Conference. Alongside the National Fire Chiefs Council and Fire and Rescue Service colleagues, I welcome the publication of today's White Paper and the further focus on the continued improvement of the Fire and Rescue Service we provide to the public. Our fantastic firefighters and staff provide valuable prevention, protection and response services to people in communities up and down the country, often at times of desperate need. We see this in our prevention work with older and vulnerable people, alongside the work with very young people, as we use the brand and reputation of the fire service to shape their future fire, road and water safety behaviour and develop their life skills. We see this in our protection work, ensuring fire safety in the built environment, and we further welcome today's announcements about improvements to the fire and building safety system, published alongside the White Paper. We see this in our emergency 999 response and the local and national incidents that are dealt with efficiently, professionally and bravely every day. And we see it in our one-off leadership roles the fire service superbly carries out, be that our response to the global pandemic, our support to firefighters tackling wildfires in Greece, or how we've quickly arranged and coordinated with partners convoys of appliances and equipment to Ukraine. The White Paper builds on the reforms and improvements of recent years and since the Fire and Rescue Service moved to the Home Office. The improvements include the role of the National Fire Chiefs Council, now firmly captured in the national framework, the role of the Fire Standards Board and the maturing inspection regime through Her Majesty's Inspectorate. All of these have a clear focus on continuous improvement and the important role of national functions in supporting the Fire and Rescue Service. Of course, whilst there is much to celebrate and some effective reforms so far, we're far from complacent and there are further improvements we want to make to deliver the very best service to the public, a service that meets their changing needs and expectations, both now and in the future. Much of this is captured in the evolving work of the National Fire Chiefs Council, with the Local Government Association and employers in England on the Fit for Future work that will inform our response to this White Paper. I expect there will be many similarities between the White Paper and the Fit for Future work about the ambition for continuously improving fire services in the years ahead. I would like to welcome the National Fire Service leadership roles of the Home Secretary and the Fire Minister. The scale of the challenges facing us all, together with public and partner confidence in the fire services, often means we have to push hard for a place amongst other national and international priorities. The improvements and reforms set out in the White Paper will require national leadership, effective engagement with partners and appropriate resources and funding. Your leadership to get us to the point of publishing this White Paper gets us well into the first bend of the journey over the coming years. Turning to one element of reform, I would like to set out the initial National Fire Chiefs Council views on operational independence. We believe Chief Fire Officers are best placed to manage the operational running of services. We therefore support the proposal to give them operational independence in the management and deployment of fire service resources to meet the risk and demands facing communities. To achieve this, there must be clarity in the professional and political leadership. Operational independence will be most effective when it comes with good political oversight, strong governance, accountability and robust political decision making in place. Fire authorities should continue to set the strategic direction and budget for the service, informed by the operationally independent professional advice of the Chief Fire Officer. The Fire Authority will then continue to hold the Chief Fire Officer to account for the exercise of their functions. Experience of the pandemic has also demonstrated that on too many occasions the operational independence of Chief Fire Officers has further been fettered on operational matters. This was at a time when acting swiftly and safely in a crisis was what the public desperately needed from their fire and rescue service. Operational independence is sometimes presented as Chief Fire Officers operating without restraint across their fire service. This is untrue. It's about establishing appropriate clarity on the operational and political roles of Chief Fire Officers and fire authorities, removing some of the examples from across the country where the boundaries have been blurred. In closing, I'll return to where I started. I'm excited by the opportunities that the national focus on the Fire and Rescue Service brings. The National Fire Chiefs Council has a key role to play in those reforms, but we know that no one organisation alone holds the key. We want to work across the various bodies to shape and implement further improvements. Public confidence in the Fire and Rescue Service, in firefighters and in all other fire service staff remains the envy of many organisations. We all carry a collective responsibility to build on that confidence and reputation in how we shape the Fire and Rescue Service for the future and for the benefit of the public at the forefront of our thinking. Thank you.